Hey guys, welcome to another video. In the last video, I had just started my brand new Hypixel Ironman profile. In that video, I also finished the basics and started to really start getting into it. Last video, we also entered the Dwarven Mines, which is a late game mining area. Well, anyway, please like and subscribe. It greatly helps for me to continue to put out this new content. And, well, without further ado, let's jump right into it. As I loaded into the server, I saw where we ended the last video, the Dwarven Mines. Soon after, I also found myself looking at the brand new Heart of the Mountain tree. This would be very important for mining in the future. After getting bored of looking at the different perks that could be unlocked, I walked into the first area in the Dwarven Mines. This area was the Dwarven Village, and would be very important in starting the mine here. The reason it would be so important was the man named Bubba. He was important since he would sell me my first actually decent pick. This pick was called the Fractured Mithril Pick. After running around a bit, I found a place that would also be very important. This place was called the Royal Palace. The Royal Palace is a location where you can talk to the king and he would give you commissions. When you completed these commissions, you would gain some mining XP and some Heart of the Mountain XP. And lastly, you would also get a little bit of mithril powder. Mithril powder is a resource that would be used to level up my perks in the Heart of the Mountain tree, or Hotum tree. These perks would allow me to drop more resources, mine faster, and much more. But worry not, viewer, since we will go into more depth on this later. Well, anyway, let's get back to it. After exploring a little longer, I found a man named Puzzler. This man would give you a puzzle, and if you solved it, you would get some mithril powder. These puzzles would probably make sense to someone, but with my IQ, I couldn't figure it out. So soon after, I found myself leaving the puzzler's room. After this, I realized that I could turn on markers, which would make it much easier for me to find my way around the Dwarven Mines. Seeing this, I decided that I would explore a little longer. Partway through exploring, I found a place called the Great Ice Wall. Here I would be able to farm Ice Walkers, which would give me Glaciite Jewels, which would be useful later on, and Glaciite Armor, which was good early game armor. Each of these drops, however, had a pretty low drop chance, so I would need to farm for a while. And so, after getting bored of farming Ice Walkers, I decided to mine some mithril. However, you may be saying, but Dragon, why are you using your pickaxe when in the last video you got a brand new sword? Well, my viewer, the reason for that is that Ice Walkers are weak to pickaxes. Due to this, it is more efficient for me to defeat them with my pickaxe rather than my sword. You may also be saying, but Dragon, why is it hard to get their drops if you can one-shot them? And the reason for that is that each item has a very low drop chance. More than that, they are also commonly being farmed by more than just me, and so there is plenty of competition to go around. Well, anyway, let's get back to it. The reason that I decided to mine mithril is because the Better Together event was running. This event made it so that you mined faster whenever you were near more people. Events are also a random thing that happens every now and then in the Dwarven Mines. These events can be many things, from this Better Together event to a goblin raid. After getting bored of mining mithril, I decided to go back and start farming Ice Walkers again, since the armor set gave me a mining bonus. However, this is not the only reason I wanted the Glaciite armor. See, Glaciite armor actually has a really high stats and would be useful for many things in the future. So, anyway, let's get to the grind. After ending my rampage, I had gathered 3 Glaciite Jewels and not a single piece of the armor set. This greatly diminished my will to finish the grind, and so I decided to grind something else. And so, I headed over to the Spider's Den. This is a place where spiders spawn, as the name suggests. However, there are many different types of spiders here. Each type had something special about it, such as the splitter spider splitting into multiple silverfish when defeated. And so, I decided to fight spiders for a while and gather some string. Now, you may be saying, but Dragon, why would you farm a resource you have no need for yet? And the reason for that is simple. I needed string for something. That's something I never ended up getting, but it was the grappling hook. The grappling hook is an item which allows you to throw yourself through the air to help with movement. However, this had a cooldown and was rather buggy, so I decided to not get it and just wait for its upgrade. the Aspect of the End, or better known as Aote. This sword would allow you to teleport to anywhere you wanted and had no cooldown. Now, you may be saying, but Dragon, there is no way that they would add something so unbalanced. And to that I say, you are right. The reason this sword is in the game is because its ability costs mana, and as explained in the last video, this is rather rare, so I would not be getting this sword for quite a while. Well, that's enough talking. Let's get back to it. Partway through, I decided that I would go get the End Sword and Spider Sword. These swords worked similar to the Undead Sword, and as you might expect, the End Sword did more damage to end mobs, and the Spider Sword did more damage to spiders. And so, I decided to go back to the Spider's Den so that I could try out my brand new Spider Sword. This sword did much more damage to spiders than my Undead Sword did, and allowed me to farm them much easier. After getting bored of farming spiders, I also decided to go and do some slayers. Now, you may be saying, but Dragon, what is a slayer? You said in the first video that it was a buffed up zombie, and to that I say yes and no. See, there are multiple different slayers ranging from zombie to vampires, and each different type of slayer had multiple tiers in it that got harder as you worked the way through. And so the slayer that I completed in the last video was a simple tier 1 Revenant Horror. And so I needed to work my way through the Revenant Horror tiers to unlock the Spider Slayer and so on. Well, anyway, enough explaining, let's jump right back to it. As I walked up to Maddox, he told me that since I had defeated the tier 1 Revenant Horror the other day, he would give me Slayer XP, which allowed me to unlock new recipes that had to do with that Slayer. And with the 5 Slayer XP it had given me, I had reached Zombie Slayer level 1, which allowed me to craft the first tier of Healing Wand. Seeing this, I decided that I wanted to get enough Revenant Flesh to craft the Healing Wand. However, I also realized that I would not be able to handle these Slayers yet, and so I decided to go try my new End Sword. And well, you can see how that went. After failing to defeat an Enderman, I noticed a shop nearby and decided to go in. Once inside, I saw basic resources along with the Stong Pickaxe, Remnant of the Eye, and Silent Pearls. Most of these items weren't very useful, however the Stong Pickaxe would be very useful in the future. After leaving the shop, I decided to head over to Hub and do a little bit of foraging. This would help me build up a little bit of money so I could buy things in the future. After foraging a little bit, I had unlocked an island called the Park. Here, I would be able to gather more types of wood than just oak. It would also be very useful for grinding foraging XP in the future, since the dark oak trees are the best for it. However, even with how useful this place is, I decided to go do Melody's quests for some reason. For those of you who don't know, Melody's quests are a set of quests that have to do with a minigame. This minigame is a rhythm game. However, most Hypixel players strongly dislike this quest, as if you lag out or have bad ping, it makes it nearly impossible to do. However, if you are able to complete the quest line, you get a very good accessory, which would be useful in the future. Well, anyway, here's how it went. Well, as you can see, I did not manage to complete the quest line before I gave up. Afterwards, I decided to go farm a little bit more money to help with my frustration. Now, you may be saying, but Dragon, why would you farm for money? Aren't there better ways of making it? And to that I say, no, there are not really any better ways of making money. See, on Ironman, I have to sell everything straight to an NPC, and so I would have to sell the items at the base price. As such, farming is the best way, since prices on farming items are pretty high. Well, anyway, enough explanation, let's get back to it. After finishing farming for money, I decided to go and do the archery test. This would make it so that the man that ran the shop would sell me new and better types of arrows, which would be useful in the future. After this, I had decided that I had had enough of not having any form of good armor, and so I decided to grind more ice walkers. And I grinded, and grinded, and grinded. But here's what happened. After grinding for what felt like hours upon hours upon hours, somehow, some way, I only managed to finish with 3/4 of a set of glaciite and 7 glaciite jewels. This was not very much. As a new and growing channel, there's always more and more for me to figure out. And so I would greatly appreciate it if you guys would respond in the comments giving me any tips or guidance on how I can make my videos better, or tips on things that you liked, or anything really of the above. Also, please just comment. It really helps. I mean, it's always going to be there, and it'll allow me to see your thoughts on my videos and be able to figure out how to make my content better for you guys to watch. Also, my posting schedule will generally be somewhere around once every Sunday. Every now and then I may post more often or a little less often, and it's always up to debate, but you should be able to expect to see a video every Sunday. These videos take lots of time to make, and it greatly helps me keep putting them out for you guys if you like and subscribe. Well, anyway, I hope that you guys will continue with me on this journey through Hypixel Ironman.